Hi everyone, it's Tim here for another update video, and the first thing I want to do is recommend to you a couple of books that I've read recently and found really helpful. The first one is called Breaking Bread with the Dead by Alan Jacobs, and Alan Jacobs is quickly becoming a favorite author of mine. He is a Christian who is a literature professor, and it's not a Christian book per se, but I really appreciate Jacobs and his wisdom. He's really good at helping us think through maybe ways around some of the conundrums of how we think today. And this book in particular is helpful for recommending kind of ways of profitably reading old books. And he's especially thinking about how when we have a really narrow perspective that's really stuck on the present and we're just awash in news and commentary and social media, it can really warp our perspective. He really recommends and kind of helps show how it's so helpful to read from the past a broad swath of influences. And it's really thoughtful. He's not just saying everything old is good, or we might be inclined to think everything old is bad because it's so different from us, but he's just helping us think through. Actually, there's a lot to appreciate and learn from the past, and there's a lot even to criticize from some folks who might read from the past, but it's all helpful to us in our perspective. So really helping us think through those issues. So really appreciate Breaking Bread with the Dead by Alan Jacobs. The other book I want to recommend is, it's called How Can I Grow in Holiness Through Reading the Old Testament by Michael P.V. Barrett. And this is a little pamphlet. It's about 40 pages, small-ish pages. And for a while now, I've been on the lookout for a resource just like this, because every once in a while, a church member will come to me very understandably, just kind of frustrated about knowing that the Old Testament is written for our instruction and our encouragement and hope, just as the Bible tells us, and yet just not quite knowing for a lot of parts of the Old Testament, how do I read this for profit and edification? As a Christian today, it can be very difficult with some of the sections of the Old Testament, and so there are some longer books that can be really helpful for orienting you to those issues, and I'm glad to recommend those if you're up for more reading. But I do realize that realistically, a lot of people just could benefit from something that's pretty brief, but just get you your bearings. And that's what Barrett does here. He tries to give you kind of overall picture of the Old Testament, and then just section by section, what are the major issues to be looking for, kind of how is it built, how is it structured, and then especially with regard to looking forward to Christ. How does this part of the Old Testament anticipate Christ as the consummation of God's purposes, which is especially for us as New Covenant believers, the interest that we have in the Old Testament. So I would really commend Barrett's book. I would have some quibbles here and there with it, but on the whole, it's very, very good. So that's, again, How Can I Grow in Holiness Through Reading the Old Testament? And so moving on to announcements. This Sunday, we're gathering again at 10:30, meeting indoors as we have been. Although, like last Sunday, we are accommodating those who want to sit outside, and we'll have sound that's piped out there for you, seated outside in view of the renewed mask mandate that's going on. Also, for Sunday evening, we have our equipping hour continuing on Zoom at 5 p.m., and we are reading the book Corporate Worship by Matt Merker. Again, we're reading together, so you don't have to do homework beforehand. Just show up, and you'll be able to join us in a reading and conversation. Finally, there are some conferences coming up, so please make sure to look in the newsletter about those, particularly the one coming this Saturday, which is the Sacramento Gospel Conference. There is still time if you want to be a part of that. It's up in Shingle Springs with Carl Truman. Again, info in the newsletter on that and everything else that I've mentioned. So anyway, that's it for announcements, and I love you all and look forward to seeing you Sunday, and may Christ's blessings be upon you richly. All right, bye-bye.